Hello?
I hear you.
Oh, okay. Oh, I can't hear myself, but that's all good. Alrighty. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let me know if you can hear me out there in the YouTube. What's up? What's up? What's up? Sign off in the live chat if you can hear us. Let me know if you can hear me talking. If y'all can hear us, let us know. Who is this? That's me, KG. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm just trying to make sure all the stuff is right before we all right, they can hear us, D2. Say something, D2.
Something.
All right, so we are here. Hope that y'all are tuned in and ready to have a good time with the Live and Level Gamers podcast. It's been a minute. It's been a long hiatus trying to figure this stuff out since we couldn't do Google Hangout, and I had to figure out some things, but we finally seem to got things together. Hopefully, Jedi Knight is able to jump in. Right now, I got D2K in the hotlines with me. What's up, bro?
What's going on?
So we are here to talk about games and other things because we grown men. I hear my boys watching the game. So you watching the Ravens versus who?
Well, that game's over. It was over by halftime, actually, but it's over. I mean, it's not playing anymore.
Yeah, but what was the score?
The final score was 59-10.
Oh man, that's crazy. Who's they
Yeah.
playing?
They were playing Miami.
Okay, okay. I saw that the Browns didn't look too good for their first game. That's. I bet that's surprising everybody.
I mean, they looked good like the first drive or so, and then Baker Mayfield. Oh, what happens in your second year? Just see he's not ready yet.
Oh, okay.
But you listen to Tony Romo doing the commentary, he's pointing out all the mistakes, like how he's just trying to make big plays where he's not just taking the for sure things and just there and he's getting sacked and fumbling the ball and you know
Okay.
sophomore jinx.
Yeah, yeah. I think they're gonna be okay, man. But I saw the score. I was expecting them to be at least winning, but they was, they was down. I think a few touchdowns when I was checking the little highlights, and then I
The
got
final score was 43-13, so
yeah. I said a couple of touchdowns. I said
it's
a
more
couple of
than a
touchdowns.
couple.
Right. I also saw Cam Newton was losing it to who was they playing?
Rams.
Rams. Yeah, they was losing to the Rams, and then I think that's the only games I saw at that time. Was there any other games that outside of Ravens that you saw that I didn't mention?
I mean, the Vikings, they pretty much beat the brakes off of the game. Really wasn't even close. I mean, final score was 28-12, but they pretty much held them scoreless for like three and a half, 4 quarters. I mean, that
Okay. Who
Vikings defense is legit, and they offense is back together again. They're gonna be scary.
okay. Now who did they play? You broke you
It
going
was the
in and
Falcons and the Vikings.
Falcons and the Vikings. Okay. Okay, Atlanta Falcons. Okay, so anyway, welcome to the show, folks. This is the Live and Level Gamers podcast. This is episode 188. We have been gone for a while. I'm still learning things. Stuff has changed so much that I don't have all my stuff worked out yet. Level to still try to figure this out, but I hope y'all like the format. We got our topics here, right here on the list, so you can kind of see what we're gonna be talking about. Right now, Keith Norris is doing some things. Jedi Knight supposed to be jumping in. hopefully he is able to do that. I'm gonna work on the side and try to get him in here. And K-Bone was forced to go to a birthday party. so
Forced.
Yeah, he was forced. When I called him, his wife was on the phone. Was like, you know what we supposed to be doing, buddy. so he's like, bro, I can't do it tonight. So he's at I think a 1-year-old's birthday party. He was out buying gifts and everything like that. He was a little salty. But anyway, I ain't here to talk about this stuff, man, on air. But anyway, so he won't be able to make it tonight. Possibly this Thursday, because I don't think I'm going to be able to do next Sunday. So we might be on Thursday. I'm not for sure. It depends how everything fall. But, man, outside of the football games and all that stuff, what's been good, bro?
Just not a whole lot. I mean, yesterday I did comic convention, Wisconsin, the Milwaukee Comic Con, and really wasn't much of one. You know, the clientele there are not. Wasn't really a comic. It just wasn't the right crowd for a comic book convention, and a lot of the established artists that were there were kind of looking around and saying that, you know, we're not, probably won't be doing this show again next year either. It was kind of a bust for me, but you gotta, you know, take all those gigs that you can. Like if you're a struggling artist or you're a struggling singer or whatever, and you know, you can't just say, well, I'm not gonna do this one.
Okay. Oh man, that's what's up. No, I've been working on. I got to go do a gig here this coming weekend. That's why I'm not for sure I'm gonna be able to do next Sunday. And I've been trying to work out my music, man, and get the rust off, bro. You can't stop doing this stuff and then just start back up.
I mean, you know, if you ain't rode a bike for a while, you're gonna be a little bit wobbly the first time you get up on there.
Yeah, I'm a little wobbly, but I'm working out the kinks and trying to get the old vocal cords worked back out in my mouth and tongue, able to rapid fire these lyrics. So yeah, your bro gonna be trying to get that in, and I'm gonna try to get it. I'm trying to finish these songs up before the weekend's out because I'm trying to do some new stuff. So, but that's what I've been working on. And man, I went out and bought Godzilla, King of Monsters, Endgame, and Alita. Now I've seen all these movies at the theater, but man, the second time through, I didn't think I was going to enjoy Godzilla as much as I did at the theater, and I did. I actually enjoyed it even more than I did at the theater. The movie is actually pretty good.
The movie is very good. I mean, if you look at the movie for preconceived notions based off anything that you've heard from a critic, and you just say, hey, Godzilla King of the Monsters on, let's watch this movie. It was an entertaining movie, even if you've never watched a Godzilla movie before in your life. Good from a spectacle standpoint, the special effects and the action and the monsters tearing up stuff. You know, a fan, or if you're a kaiju fan like I am, you understand that is looking for Oscar-winning performances from the actors.
Okay.
Personality in the story is about the monsters. You want to see the monsters fight. You want to see them relate to each other, not the people.
Mm-hmm.
Monster, like the first King Kong that came out in 1933, or the first Godzilla that came out in or even the Godzilla that came out in 2014. When you have one monster, focus on the people, because you kind of have to, because the monster's not going to be on the screen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Strong characters and strong storyline and strong plot to carry the movie around until the monster shows up. Trying to introduce or reintroduce at least 4 major in this movie, plus a whole bunch of them that they just made up for the movie. You don't have time for all that. 5 hours trying to establish, okay, we got to establish Rodan, we got to establish Mothra, we got to establish King Ghidorah, we got to tell the viewers what happened to Godzilla after the last movie, and then we got Methuselah, and then we got Behemoth, and then we got this monster over here, and that monster over there. And oh, by the way, we have to make sure that we let people know that King Kong is still out there, because the next movie is going to be against King Kong. and we got to get all the characters in the movies screen time too. It doesn't work that way. You know.
Okay. Hold up. Go ahead and keep talking. I'm trying to get Jedi set up.
And so it's it's just kind of, I don't know. I mean, we all know that Disney controls a lot of the. I don't know what's going on in the background there. We know that Disney controls.
That's my brother talking.
Okay. We know that Disney controls a lot of the reviewers and the review sites and things like that, and they sway things in their favor. And this being a movie produced by Warner Brothers, it doesn't strike me as surprising that it got as many bad reviews as it did. The fact that, Avengers still Endgame was still out there for people to see. So people who hadn't seen it or were going to see it for their third, fourth, fifth time was still going to see that too. So it was just a cocktail of situations for the movie. I think if it was released at a different time, it probably would have did a lot better than it did.
Yeah. Like I said, I enjoyed the movie for what it was. But like I said, the first time I went and saw it, it was super late, D2. I was like, I didn't leave the theater till like 2 a.m. That's how late it was when, no, I didn't get home because I was in St. Louis when I went and saw it. So I didn't get back to where we were staying until like 2 a.m. That's just how far I had to drive to go see it. And so I didn't feel like I was alert enough to really appreciate what I was watching because I noticed I may have dozed off a few too many times during the movie. So when I watched it here, I was like, I wondered if I really, really enjoyed the movie like I thought I did. And I think I enjoyed it more. I mean, I think they really did a real good job of depicting each monster. I also think they did. That's my dog down there. Anyway, I think they did a pretty good job of storytelling. It was corny, but what is kaijus, it's big monsters tearing up stuff. So the story shouldn't be so believable, But
well, I mean, they're like, you can count on one hand is from the Toho MonsterVerse that actually had great plots and story and acting. All of them are usually corny acting, bad for the English movies and stuff. You see the mouths move and the words not matching it and stuff like that. You're like, okay, let's just get to the monster, get to the monster, get to the monster. Yeah, that's all you're saying when you're watching these movies. You don't care about how bad the acting is. Right. Like I said, these people are full of it that were talking about how bad the acting was, because if you actually watch any of the movie, actually, what I came to find out later is that Toho actually did have a hand in some of this movie being made. They were allowed to use some of the sound effects movies in this movie. Like, every once in a while you heard Godzilla uses real roar in the movie. They didn't overdo it. It was like every once in a while, like, hey, that's his actual. And they did that with Mothra as well. And then they let them theme music for Godzilla, like dun, 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 dun. So they actually made it feel like it was an actual Japanese Toho movie, Hollywood budget, and that's what I thought was perfect.
Yeah, I thought so too. It was good. I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm gonna watch it again. I still haven't watched Alita Battle Angel for the second time. I only watched it at the theater. I got it up there, but I haven't watched it. And then I was gonna bring this up, but Jedi Knight is here. What's up, Jedi?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Mic check, mic check. Can you guys hear me?
What's going on? What's going on?
Sound like I need to get you on the mic and let you spit some bars.
Man, that'll be a brutal situation.
But what I was going to say, D2, was I was after watching Endgame again. Man, I'm gonna be honest. I think I had this conversation with a close friend of mine, and I meant to bring it up with K-Bun, but I ain't got a chance to. And so I was gonna bring it up tonight here on the show with y'all, but they ain't here yet. So anyway, Robbie Downey Jr. to me, acting was Oscar worthy in Endgame. Like, I think people are sleeping on just how good of acting they were doing in some of these Marvel movies. I don't know if you agree with that or not. I'm curious to get your thoughts on that.
I don't really know what. Excuse me. I don't really know what constitutes an Oscar-winning performance is anymore.
Right. Yeah, I got that.
Based off of the way they do things, but I thought that he did a tremendous job in this movie. He was very believable. The opening, very. I mean, it was enrapturing. Right. The movie right there, and they were foreshadowing what was about to happen later on. They did it very well. I mean, if you can give an Oscar for those type of movies, yeah, definitely in the conversation. I agree with that.
Yeah, I was highly impressed by Robert, and I mean through other actors, but like you said, the beginning, the way he sold, being in space, being kind of isolated and stranded there, and then how he sold the interaction between him and Cap when they first met, to taking off the I forgot what that thing is called on his chest, but taking it off, putting it in Cap's hand, and then kind of selling his disappointment and his I guess hurt and resentment from the fact that he didn't show up and the fact Thanos had done what he done. He sold it. It was just so believable. The whole movie was great, man. I don't think I appreciated Endgame as much as I did this watch as I did at the theaters. I think I didn't. I'm gonna be honest. I felt like it was a little too boring at the beginning before everything kind of ramped up. But watching it here, I'm like, no, this was perfect. It was perfect how they went through them wrestling with the fact that they lost. And they actually sold the believability of, dude, we lost. we really lost. I liked Thor's, how he was acting up until them, I don't want to spoil the movie, but them going and finding Thanos and all that and what happened and then what transpired after that. That whole sequence, man, I think a lot of folks are sleeping on just how greatly acted this movie was. So my wife,
I think
go ahead and keep talking. Go ahead.
I agree. I mean, I think the acting was well done by everybody. I mean, you can definitely see a certain amount of money, but you can understand why Robert Downey Jr. got paid $1.50 for Infinity War and Endgame. So that's $300 million in just two movies. But without him, I mean, the movie really wouldn't have had the weight that it did, because it all centers around Iron Man. I mean, he started the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it had to come to an end with him, be quote unquote in game, and there's a lot up in that title in game that's more than just the movie in terms of the whole MCU. I mean, reason I think for me, you wanted to try to hook you in. If you're thinking about jumping off the ship, now is the time.
Right. So let's get into these topics. I don't want to hold these dudes up too long, and I don't want to keep people in the chat waiting on us to get into the game and topic. So everybody in the live chat that's here, we got that's me, KG. What's up? I don't have my clap set up, so I can't give you that right now. We got Dark Sun Rider live. You hear my dog running up and down the steps behind me because my wife opens up the door and lets him out, being funny. Yeah, there he is. So anyway, let's get into these games, man. So let's do this.
Before we get into that, the Jedi, what you think of the Jets' new uniforms, man?
I don't like the new uniforms. I think the helmets are great, though. I love the helmets. Those uniforms are trash. I'm not buying that jersey. I'm not buying it at all.
Yeah, I mean, the helmet's kind of like a throwback to like the 80s style helmets that they had,
And I like the 80s art style, with the actual jet over the word Jets. I felt like they should have went back to that. They kept more of the 60s vibe with the football under it, but that uniform is atrocious.
Wow.
I haven't seen it. I didn't get. So they played today too?
Good for you, yeah.
Oh, okay, I missed.
They
Like I said,
they played the way their uniform looked. That's exactly how they played.
Oh, so they didn't win. Okay, I got you.
All
right, so-
They could have won. You don't know.
So
no, they didn't.
So,
They did not win.
with that being said, let me know if you in the live chat, listen to live. I know it's been a minute, and we still working out some kinks from my end, learning this new way. This is all new to me, so I've been trying to learn it and how to, spice it up, and make it look more professional and all these different things. But I'm still working on, still learning it. That's why the intro was like it was. I ain't got it worked out yet. So, give me a little time. So anyway, let's get on what you've been gaming on. And I'm going to start with D2K, and then I'm going to hit you up, Jedi. What you been gaming on, D2?
We'll start with Jedi, because I need to remember, because I don't even know what I've been playing on recently.
Jedi Knight, what you been gaming on, bro?
I've been playing a lot of Super Mega Baseball on the Switch.
I seen it. Is that
they have them on the Switch?
Yeah, they got Super Mega Baseball 2. I bought it as soon as I seen it.
Now that's the one with like the bobblehead look, right?
Yeah, but it looks arcadey, but it's sim.
It's good.
Yeah, I have got the for Xbox One. That's a nice baseball game.
Yeah, I saw it I saw it. I want to say about a week ago. Well, no, earlier this week I saw it. But I didn't know if it was good or not. I think it's like what? Is it like 19 or 29 or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was $20. I picked it up for. Of course, I downloaded the SNES, Nintendo Online. I've been getting in some Super Mario World, a little bit of F-Zero. There's a problem though.
What's good?
Because you know how I feel about the platformers for Mario. I don't really play 3D Mario, so anytime I get the 2D fix in, I got to take full advantage.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if it's my and pardon guys if I got to speak kind of low to my little one is sleeping. I don't know if it's the controllers that I have. I purchased some 8-bit Go controllers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hook up one controller on a Switch, I don't get any input lag. Me and my wife yesterday was playing Super Mario World, and it was unplayable because of the lag. At first, I thought that it was the online, the fact that you're playing the game online. I thought it was like a lag, and I'm like, wow, this is 16-bit. I shouldn't have lag. Now that it's when I have more than one controller connected, it just brings lag to the game.
How does that even work?
I have no idea how that even happens, bro.
That makes no sense at all.
If it's not one thing, it's another with Nintendo. I don't know, man.
So my daughter just yelled down the steps, so I kind of had to get that under control. I missed what you just said. So you had lag.
Oh,
what happened?
Yeah, when I connect more than one controller, it generates lag in the game. I was playing Super Mario World, and I started immediately with 2 players, and I can feel the lag. And as me and my wife got to the second world, we just stopped playing because it was like, this is unplayable. And I was a bit upset, thinking that it was just because you're playing through the online service. I played again today, and it was just me on my own, and I realized that it's when you connect more than one controller. So I don't know what Nintendo is going to do about that. I'm not sure if it's because I have a third-party controller, which it shouldn't be an issue, But
this is not a. This I'm sorry.
I'm done.
This is not a new issue. I mean, I've heard about this happening before with the Switch. Actually with the NES, when the NES online first came out, there was a lag issue with some of the games. So
yeah,
it might be cloud related. Just you.
Yeah, I don't play a lot of multiplayer, generally on the Switch. Anytime it's Mario, me and the wife. So, I haven't really checked any other games to see, but it was clearly, I can experience it quite clearly yesterday, especially when you get the feather and you're trying to fly. You can't fly because of the lag.
No, that's a no sell for me right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't, if I didn't already own the online stuff, I tell you, put it like this: I wouldn't be buying it for this stuff. I'd be buying it because I want to play other games online. But nah, I didn't experience any lag. But I will say that those older school 2D Mario games control way more crisp than the newer ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like I noticed that, like when you did something, it moved and I was like, man, I had to readjust to just how. I don't know if our game's just different or just improved. I don't know what the deal is, but I noticed that when I would do something like a simple jump, I would over jump and over gauge how far I needed to jump and all that on this game where I could play a new Super Mario and I have none of those issues. Or like Mario Maker. I don't have any of those issues in Mario Maker too. But when I was playing this game, I was like, man, am I just slow or my reflex is not right? Or I don't think it was lag. I think it was too quick. That's what I think my issue was. It was too responsive. And
game.
Huh?
I'm sorry. No, continue.
No, say what you was going to say.
Say one game that I've noticed has lag in every iteration of it is NBA 2K. I've gotten the demos. I've actually purchased the first NBA 2K for the Switch, and they all have lag.
You think it could be that going from 60 frames to 30?
Possibly, but but you can't play a sports game like that, especially when you have to shoot with a meter with lag. It's like I would buy the game, but I'm not gonna buy it because of the lag, because I experienced it with I think it was 2K18. Okay, it was the first iteration on the Switch. I'm thinking they were gonna patch it. They never patched it. Then they had the demo with 2K18 and 2K19, and and then recently they just released the 2K20 demo. I downloaded it. It's the same lag.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know what to tell
Yeah,
you.
maybe it's my Switch. If there's anybody else maybe that's listening to the podcast that can, co-sign this or, tell me their experiences, I would love to know, because I'm experiencing hella lag here.
Okay.
Every game, it's particular game. So I can understand maybe if it was like a frequency, like my internet connection was kind of like interfering with like the remote the wireless connection, but it's not that. It's the games.
Okay.
I think that if it was your Switch, it would happen a lot more and more often than just a couple of games. So I think it might be just a intermittent thing with certain games and certain people. But
yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious because I haven't had that issue at all yet, so I don't know.
Do you have the 2K basketball?
I got 2K19. I don't have the newest one, but I have the older two, and I never felt like there was any. Like I can go from playing the Xbox. I got it on the Xbox One. I bought my son, I think 19 on there, and I got 18 on the PlayStation 4, and I got 19 and 18 on the Switch, and I have no issues from going back and forth between the two. It ain't as you could tell you going from 60 to 30 frames, but it's not. I don't feel lag. Like if I shoot the ball, it shoots. So I know I haven't had that issue at all. Yeah. So I'm curious. That's interesting because I haven't had that. And nor have I heard anyone make with that's a similar complaint as that as well. So I'm not sure. So
sound low in the chat.
Me?
Oh, I sound low.
Level.
I'll turn myself. Okay. What about now? They saying, let me know. Active. Do I sound better now? I have my mic down a little bit, but if I'm sounding right now, just type in the thing and let me know. But yeah. I haven't had that issue, Jedi, so I'm not sure. Okay. All right. Anything else you've been gaming on though?
That's it. Just checking out the demos. And Dragon Quest.
Yeah, I see somebody down here. Yeah, I checked out that. I checked it out. What you think?
It's not my type of RPG. I mean, it's not a bad game. It looks phenomenal on handheld. I got to admit, when I've seen it, I was like, "Wow, this looks really good." But
Yeah.
you have to play it more. I can't criticize it yet. It may be just one of those things that I have to get into. But visually, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. That's actually what shocked me. That was the first thing that kind of blew me back. Was like, man, this really holds up as compared to the other versions. And I know it's not an art style that I mean, it's not. I mean, the art style looks like it should hold up, but I wasn't expecting it to hold up as good as it was. And but I just ain't an RPG fan, man. I just can't do that whole push this and watch the computer attack. When I found that it was like that, I thought it was like a live action RPG. So when I saw that it was turn based, I was like, man, I'm actually wanting to play this, but I can't do that. I cannot do it. So I deleted
You know, I can understand that depending on the game, right? Like, what was it? Octopath Traveler. It's turn based. Dude, I've played. I've gotten in that game. I remember the month of May when I finally got the time. Man, I put in OD amounts of time just to make sure I ended that game. That game is absolutely. It is worth that $60, bro.
Okay. That's the one for Square Enix, right? Well, they both from Square Enix.
They need to release a second one for that. And I heard that they just released it for Steam. They got it in 4K and everything now. So
right.
Yeah, I'm glad that other people that don't have a Switch are able to experience this game. It's a must buy.
Okay. No, I played that one too, and I actually played it longer than I played this demo of Dragon Quest. I played that demo longer, and I don't know why. Maybe it was the sprites or the visual, the way it looked. I don't know. But when I saw them graphics and saw how good I was, my mind went Zelda. Let me just run around and slash some stuff up. I didn't feel like going through my menu, pushing like, okay, what I'm gonna do next. I was like, I can't do it. So I also downloaded. I think I downloaded that baseball. I don't know if it's the baseball game you talking about, or it's one of them that had a demo, and I downloaded it.
It has a demo as well. I downloaded.
Okay, I haven't played it yet, but now that you say that's the game, I'm gonna go up there and check it out. I downloaded, but I never played it. So. Well, it ain't my turn. It's still your turn. So let me. What else have you played? So.
That's it.
All right, D2K, because I'm ready to get around to myself. D2K, what you been gaming on, bro?
I'm still been gaming on that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Rescue Palooza. Said on the show before, it's like a mashup of many of the more popular Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games over the years. I don't know how far I am into the game because it's kind of like it's hard to explain. Like Ninja Turtles game for the NES, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you remember not the first level, but the second level where you've got to find Splinter in that it's like a lot of buildings and stuff.
Okay.
It's like the second part where it's not the first part where you fight Rocksteady, and then the second part where at the end you fight a Mecha Turtle, whatever his name was. But that level, it's the overview of the game is like the first screenshot of that level, and basically you're walking around to different parts of it, and each one of those parts is a different world, different Ninja Turtles games. Is worlds or levels from the original arcade, the actual arcade, not the NES arcade, but the actual arcade version. Then you have boards from the actual NES version of the arcade version. Then you have boards from Tournament Fighters. Then you have boards from Turtles in Time. Then you have boards from the original NES Turtles. It's just a mix up a whole bunch of different worlds, and has their actual voices from the cartoon. it sounds like this actual cartoon characters and not just some random. Whenever you defeat a boss, that boss becomes a playable character. So right now I got like, I can't even explain how many characters I have to play with. I mean, it's characters like you remember this lady called Tempestra. Third season, Tempestra. Like it was like the third season of Ninja Turtles where Leonardo kept sneaking out to play video games all the time.
Right, I know what you're talking about.
And he couldn't beat her, and then she came to life and all that stuff. She was a boss in the character, and I beat her. Now she's a playable character. Like,
okay.
From the version of Karai from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters, I beat her. Now she's a playable character, and you know how OP she was in that game. So an amazing game. I mean, it's such a fun game to play. I've been playing a lot of that. Also, downloaded this this guy named Alcar45, I think is his name. He does like those Legend of Zelda, or like in graphics. Made a playable board from, I think it's like the boss fight from the Fire Temple of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, redone in Unreal Engine 4 and modern day graphics. Absolutely amazing. I mean, it's 2019, Nintendo. Why aren't we playing something that looks like this? I just don't get it. I really don't. I mean, this man somewhere made this, and you are a multi-billion-dollar conglomeration. Give me this. I just don't get it.
Hey man, you know I guess they trying to say is a buck or two, which they don't need to. But let me stop. Let me quit. Let me stop. Anything else?
Just my normal stuff. I mean, I'm still trying to collect all of the trophies in Batman Arkham Knight so I can complete that game, finish it off 100%. Just run around whooping people in the streets. That's Reed's tension to do that. But I'd rather do them on the game than in real life. But in the process, I'm collecting trophies so I can go ahead and finish him off and defeat him, and then I can activate the Nightfall protocol and once and for all.
Okay. All right. Anything else before I get to go? All right.
All done.
Okay. So, I've been playing a few things. All right. So, y'all know that a few months back, what actor say? Love Arkham Knight. So a few months back, y'all know that it was announced that Witcher 3 was coming to the Switch, right? So I went out and quickly bought the one for the PlayStation 4. No, I wasn't going to spend $59.99 on a game I've been wanting to get for a while. And not to knock the one that's coming to the Switch, no knock to it. I was like, look, I wanted this game. It's only $19. I'm not going to go spend $59.99 for the Switch version when I can go get the $19.99 one and play it on my PlayStation 4. And I know that might rub some feathers wrong, but hey, it saved my pocket. So I went and got
why.
I went and got it. I ain't want to. I just felt like that's I'm about to get to that Astral Train. I'm about to get that level. I mean, active, but yeah. So I went and bought it, and I'm D2K. I'm hoping. I know Jedi. I mean, I know Keith and K-Bum is not here right now, bro. I'm hoping I'm gonna get into this game, cause right now I'm kind of nervous that I'm gonna be a one that say I ain't really enjoying it. It's cool. It's cool so far. I guess the storyline need to open up to me. I haven't really got out to doing anything. I went through the opening monologue and kind of break it down in the flashback and coming up to the current time, and now we heading into the city. And I kind of stopped right there because of what Active just said. I got that Astro Chain, and I've been on that ever since. But I'm enjoying it. It looks good. It doesn't look as impressive as I thought, but this is, how old is Witcher 3? It's pretty old now, ain't it? In the comments, let me know how old Witcher 3 is. I think that game came out at least 3-4 years ago, right?
Yeah, I think it's about 2 or 3 years old.
So my issue is not the world. The world, the aesthetics of the world is ridiculously good looking. My issues is the character models look kind of funny at times. Like, I don't know, they look a little weird, like they ain't proportioned quite right. But that's just me, and I prefer. And I give Sony their kudos here. Sony, to me, when you look at Nathan looks proportioned right when he's running. When I play a game, going from Horizon Zero Dawn to Witcher 3, and seeing the character models, Horizon Zero Dawn's character models look better to me than Witcher 3 does. But I don't know if Horizon is older than Witcher. I'm not for sure. I think they came out around the same time. So visually, I'm not as impressed with Witcher 3 as I think back then everyone was screaming about it. I'm not as impressed. It's not an ugly game by no means. Witcher 3 is like 5 years old, and the Switch version looks like the unreleased version. Active, you ain't right, bro. I would agree, though. And that's another reason I didn't get it, because I was like, if I'm going to play it, let me get it in its full glory. Don't let, I know I love my Switch, but I don't love enough to buy a game just to be buying it. So, hey, my wife ain't tolerating too much of that no more. So, but yeah, I'm enjoying it, but I'm not going to lie. I guess I need to put a little bit more time in it to really get the effect everyone seems to really be enjoying about Witcher 3. Because I've yet to hear anyone say they didn't like Witcher 3. And I don't want to be the first. And it ain't that I don't like it, but maybe my hype for it ain't living up to what everyone else was hyping it up to. Maybe my experience ain't living quite up to that yet. Still playing Horizon Zero Dawn. Still loving that game. That's a great game. If you're on the PlayStation 4 and you don't own Horizon Zero Dawn, you're doing yourself a disservice. That game was heavily slept on. It did not get, I feel like didn't get its just due. I think basically because it came out around the same time as Breath of the Wild. So it ain't Breath of the Wild to me. Don't get me wrong. It ain't Breath of the Wild, but it is definitely a good game. But let's get to the game that I want to talk about. And that is Astro Chain. This game is ridiculous, bro. This game is ridiculous. I'm shocked that this is on the Switch. I'm not going to front. I feel like I don't know who slept on this game. I don't know how Platinum was able. I don't know if this game was in development before Nintendo came or Nintendo came. I don't know how this game got on the Switch. I know Nintendo approached Platinum about making an exclusive title, and this is the game that they got. And I heard that even Nintendo gave some input on the direction of the game, but I heard the game has been in development for at least 5 years, and you can literally feel it in the game. Visually is a nice looking game, but what I really want to get to is the controls. This is some next level stuff here. I think Platinum has developed and taken something like Wonderful 101 and done it right. I don't know who here ever played Wonderful 101.
Played like 10 minutes of it.
All right, so Bad Lacy says Nintendo owns the IP. Yeah, I know that, bro. I know Nintendo owns it, but I'm saying I don't know if Nintendo owned it. I don't know if it was already in creation before Nintendo took ownership of it. That's what I'm saying. I know they own it. Do you remember how you can use the screen to do the little things with the different weapons that you had in Wonderful 101, or you could just simply use the right joystick. Well, that's literally how you control your I forgot what they call them. Let me look it up real quick. That's why I be needing Keith here, man. I be having too much going on. But your astral chain and what you're linked to, the little, it's weird. I can't think of the name of it right now. It just skips my head. But you control that like you did the weapons in Wonderful 101. It's similar, but it's way more advanced. It's done to another level. And you, at first it's overwhelming. It's a little jarring. It don't feel right because it's like you trying to do two things at one time. You're trying to control your character plus control this character over here. And it's like, how am I going to do this over there and be focusing on where I'm at? But after a while, like maybe do a few training sessions, you just start naturally doing it. Clicks. And dude, when it begins to open up and you begin to learn what the game wants you to do and how it wants you to go about going through, especially the action, because it's really not as action packed all the way through. Like there are moments where you just investigate and it looked like what Jedi Knight just brought up, Arkham Knight, when Batman goes into his detective mode and he brings up all this, all the computer stuff, and he can see stuff through the lenses in his Batman costume, and it can analyze what took place, and it takes you got a similar type of thing that's going on here in Astral Chain, and when you bring it up, you're able to piece together what just took place in this scene, and it's all kinds of stuff taking place. And you got to literally go and talk to everybody. Sometimes you end up getting into fights with folks. And, let me see. Nier Automata had this too. Yeah, you're right. Let me see. Hold on. That ain't what you said. It says it was being made before Nintendo brought the IP. It was being made before Nier Automata. Okay, right. That's right. So it was in development before Nintendo got his hands on it. But, the game is way more than you think you will get from a platinum game. Let me say it like that. This doesn't, I know this don't sound right, but this just doesn't feel like a Nintendo game. It feels like something you'll get on the PlayStation or an Xbox. It don't feel like
feels like one of those games that's a AAA that you always miss on the Switch. I understand what you mean.
Right. These games normally don't come to the Nintendo. And even though we got Bayonetta 2, don't get me wrong, Bayonetta 2 is an awesome game, but Bayonetta 2 and this game differ in a lot, because Bayonetta is just hack and slash from front to end. It's hack and slash, get through the stage, hack and slash. This game ain't like that. This game slows you down, forces you to do stuff a little different, and forces you to go talk to all these different people, and you gotta talk to them, and you gotta literally recall and remember what they said. And listen, they gonna take note of what they said, but you gotta, when it comes down, they gonna ask questions, and you gotta know what was said, like L.A. Noire. You gotta go through a question list and answer it right to get a great grade on. Did you do your investigation part right? It's a lot of side quests that you can help people, and then in doing the side quests, it opens up even more information to the investigation that you're trying to do. Like one scene, this girl had lost her cat, and I had to go down the stairs and get her cat, and she told me a secret. She said if he likes cans, so if you use one of the empty soda cans and throw it out, he would go to it and you could pick up the cat. It was very simple. I'm still early in the game. I found the soda can, did that through it, and then the cat went to get it. I picked up the cat, brought it back up, and then she gave me more information to my investigation. One dude ended up wanting to fight me, so I had to beat him up to get him, and then after I beat him up, he gave me the information. So it's like, it's different. It's a different game. Highly worth the entry. I think this is probably one of the best games that's been released on the Switch. Real talk. It ain't too many games on the Switch better than this game.
I've been hearing some reviews on this game, and I can't believe it. I wasn't sure if it was just Nintendo fanboyism, but it seems like the game is really, really good. I don't know. When I look at the game, it doesn't play those type of games. So, I don't play Nier or Bayonetta. So it's too much stuff going on the screen, and I don't adapt well to it. But all of the reviews are saying like, yo, dude, this game is phenomenal. It's like a game of the year.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, no, not the two. I'm not saying it because it's on Nintendo. As you just said, you saw me. I didn't go buy Witcher 3 on the Switch, and I ain't.
No, I'm just generally speaking. I mean, you know how we do when we finally get a game. Sometimes we, give it a little bit more oomph because of what we typically don't get. But it's not like Nintendo reviews, like Nintendo folk that I'm watching their reviews. Mm-hmm. These are like just general gaming reviews, and it's getting praise across the board. So,
it's like I said, it's a great game, man. It doesn't feel like something that I know this sound crazy. It don't feel like it should be on the Nintendo device, and I know that's what you mean. I'm literally like. These games, like, okay, Nier Automata. I played that game. I remember saying then I feel like Nier Automata is just as good, if not better, than Bayonetta. Matter of fact, if I say Nier Automata is better than Bayonetta. It feels more fluid. It to me, Bayonetta feel like I'm watching her do a lot of stuff, and I ain't really controlling all this. And there's a lot of stuff I don't like with Bayonetta, with some of the I don't know, it's just too goofy and weird to me. And Nier Automata had a little bit of saneness to it that Bayonetta doesn't. And I know a lot of people, especially Nintendo heads, love to praise Bayonetta because it's on Nintendo. And I'll be honest, I like Bayonetta, but I didn't love Bayonetta. I love Nier Automata. I love that game. I wish I would. I didn't buy it because I was broke at the time, and by the time I got around to getting some money, it had moved out of my want list, and I went up and I got God of War and all the other stuff that I was getting. I still plan on going back to get Nier Automata, but I played the demo, and the demo blew me away. I just didn't have the finances to get the game, but I felt like it was a better game than Bayonetta. And Astral Chain, in my opinion, is way better than Bayonetta. It's better. It's a better game. And they said, I listened to the developers, and they said Bayonetta is being changed. They finna change Bayonetta from what it was. It's not going to be the same. And a lot of the changes is drawing inspirations from Astral Chain and Nier Automata. They are changing Bayonetta. It's not going to feel quite like the old one used to be. Down to looks, visual. I think they said they even changing it down to how they approach the game. Because Bayonetta got a stupid storyline. I'm just going to be real. It's a extremely nonsensical storyline. I ain't saying that it don't have to make sense, but this is extreme nonsense that's going on in Bayonetta. And a lot of the fight stuff that's going on is a little too overboard, like when the thing come out and chump the horse, and I just like, that'd be stupid to me. I don't know. It's just me. But this game is dope, man. This game, to me, I can see why other platform lovers might feel salty, because this game is dope. This is a dope game.
This game have a demo?
No, it don't, but it should. It should have one. The
it
other
should have
game,
a demo.
Damien X. This one should have the demo, and that game should never put out a demo, because I think it hurt his chance of selling. That demo ruined that game. That game ruined everything. So anyway, I know you guys haven't played it, Jedi. I mean, I know that's not your style of game, and I wouldn't tell you to go buy it. But if you can get a chance to check it out some kind of way, I think you might enjoy it because it's not like Bayonetta. It's more, like I said, it's more like Batman. I see why actors said Arkham Knights. That's what it would put you in the mind of. It got its fair share of action, but it ain't all action. It's a lot of slow down, figure out what's going on, story development, character development, and you kind of get into the story. Like, I just met this girl that's supposed to be this antagonist. You can tell she's the antagonist and she's the one disrupting everything. And I'm like, who is this? She just vanished and went into the astral plane, and I had to chase. They said, don't chase her in, don't go. And I went in anyway, because you had to. And I'm in here, and now she's there. Now that you here, you got to help. And I'm all into it. And I'm like, this is nothing like Bayonetta, because I cared no sense about Bayonetta's story. Like, this is a stupid story. I don't care about whoever this dude floating around causing chaos. I'm just trying to beat as much stuff up and get to the end. And I never finished that game. I never beat the final boss and didn't care to. And that's how I knew I didn't care about Bayonetta as much as everybody else did. Because when I got to the final boss and everybody had moved on from the Wii U and I lost all my data, I didn't care to even, I didn't feel like I missed anything from not beating that game. And to me, that lets me know I didn't care about the game as much as, I initially might have thought. I didn't, because I don't feel like I missed nothing from not beating it. And I haven't even went on YouTube to find out what the conclusion to the game was. Because I don't care. That's how nonsensical the storyline was. You don't need to know the conclusion, because you're just there to beat up stuff. In Astral Chain, I want to know what happens. In God of War 4, I wanted to know what happened to Kratos and his son. I had to beat the boss. You see what I'm saying? Bayonetta didn't give me that. I ain't had to know none of this stuff. After the first 3-4 acts, the storyline was totally, absolutely irrelevant to me. I didn't care about the cutscenes. Just get me to the next thing so I can beat up some more stuff. So, I think Astral Chain is an awesome game. Very much is. I didn't think it was going to be this good. I'm really shocked that it's actually better than I thought, and I'm shocked that Nintendo went with this game. This just does not feel like something even Nintendo would take on, but they did, and I'm curious what we would. I said this to Keith Norris. I was like, man, I think Nintendo need to use this and start going to other third-party companies and looking for those games that's kind of lost in development limbo. And hey, man, let us take it. We put our stamp our Nintendo logo on it, and we take on the IP and publish it. But you make it, because the testimony was they let Platinum Games do what they wanted to do, unlike what Microsoft did with what was that game with the dragons and all that, the one that ended up getting canceled. You remember what I'm talking about? It had.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The Xbox.
Yeah, it was Xbox. I can't think of the name.
I know the game. I forget the name though.
It was being developed by Platinum Games.
It was being developed by Platinum, and it was.
Is something bound?
Scalebound. There you go.
Scalebound.
Scalebound. They said the issue with Scalebound was Platinum and Microsoft was clashing on the direction of the game. Microsoft wanted more, I think, online aspects, multiplayer aspects, and Platinum wanted to make a single player. So I think the testimony with this game is they said Nintendo just let Platinum do what they wanted to do. They peered in every now and again, made certain suggestions or let them know what they liked and didn't like. But Platinum got, for the first time, got to do exactly what they wanted to do. And I'm just gonna be real. The game is ridiculous, bro. Real talk. So, any more thoughts on that before we go to this Nintendo Direct or Gears 5? I haven't played Gears 5, but I'm curious if anybody here has.
I haven't played it either.
How far along into Astral Chain are you?
Well, I've probably been playing for at least 5 or 6 hours, but I'm probably only about 10% in, about maybe 10-15% in.
All right.
I went through all, it's a lot that happens. Like I don't want to spoil the story because it's actually a good story so far. I had an incident where I'm a set of twins. I chose to go with a female character. I like the female character design more than the male character. So I went with the female. So we a set of twins, and our father is a part of the force, and unbeknownst to him, we fit the right, I guess, genetic makeup for I can't think of what them things names are that they connecting us to through the astral chain. So the dude that we are under, that we work for, brought us in unbeknownst to our father. And I think some plays into the fact, because our father is not actually our biological father. We were abandoned twins that he took in. So I'm pretty sure this abandoned twins and what's going on with all this commotion with the astral plane and all these beings from that existence coming into our world has something to do with the fact these twins, because I link up with them so good that it's I bet you any amount of money I'm probably from that world, and it just ain't been revealed yet. So I'm curious where the story finna go, but I feel like I'm just getting into where I'm out there on the beat, and they putting all their energy and focus around me because of just how well I work with the beings that we attach to. I can't think of their name right now, but my phone died. I would look it up to say it right. But anyway, so yeah, I'm about 15% into the game. I still got a good ways to go, but that which I've played is really good so far. I've killed about 4. I beat about 4 bosses, about 3.5 bosses, because I'm going to fight one now. Real good, man. Real good game. It looked like an anime fit into a video game. It looked like this could easily just be an anime series. Like One Hit Man or One Punch Man or something like that, or Dragon Ball Z. It gets that, it has that feel to it, but it's a video game. It's weird, but it's good. It's a good game. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think D2K wanted to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I'm. This is definitely the direction Nintendo needs to go. This is a good start for them to see a game that fits a demographic that's not a part of their normal base. This is not the type of game that look at and say, "Hey, we really want this game." They realize that there are games that are offered on other platforms that they probably would be interested in if they didn't have such heavy biases because it's not on their console.
I'm gonna step out for a second. Go ahead and keep talking.
And this could be a way of Nintendo seeing we do need to have more catered towards the core. We need to have more games like this, more fighting games, more survival horror, more type games, more sports, more simulation style. It could open up the floodgates to a lot of other titles. And, like this particular game was being developed before they got involved, it could be a lot of games that's on the cutting room floor to a lot of third parties. Nintendo, with all this money that they have, they can just come in and say, you know what, why don't we just let us buy that game and you can bring it over to our console. Back in the 90s, they used to look at games that other developers were making that weren't going to go anywhere, and Nintendo put their money and their might behind it, and it became something special. But they need to keep doing. They need to keep looking at games that look at these indie studios and stuff like that. Look at games and say, hey, we want to bring that over to our console. We want to buy this IP from you that you aren't doing anything with. We'll sprinkle our little Nintendo magic on it here and there where it's necessary. But for the most part, we'll get out of your way. And for me as an artist, I can understand that, because when I do commissions for clients, when the person is basically saying, okay, I want you to do this, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, and do this, and move this over here, and this color, and make sure they're posed like this, and make sure that this many centimeters tall, and blah, 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 blah. And then you do all of that, exactly how they told you, and they say, I'm not sure I like that. Can you move this a little bit more to the left? Could you move that over here? I'm done. I don't even care anymore. I'm done. I don't want to do it. I just want to get this over with. I don't even care if I get paid. Just get this thing away from me. What you can do to anybody who's a creator is to put them in a box and say that you only have to do it this way. But when you get out of the way and create what they want to create, this is what happens.
I agree. And speaking of in sports, I actually I sent out a tweet to Nintendo asking them to get with 2K because after the direct, I realized that Nintendo was going to get this the Grid Autosport game that came out in like 2014, and I'm like, well, if they can do that, then why don't they just contact 2K and see if they can get All Pro 2K8? Maybe you can just get that game. It would be the best football game out, and maybe you can update it with like a franchise mode and probably put in new legends. There's things that they can do, but they really need a football game, man, really bad, because I'm not buying that, and I'm not going to make that into a whole new conversation. But yeah, I would really love for them to do that, man.
Well, as long as it's exclusive to the Switch, franchises on there.
On what, the All Pro?
As long as it's exclusive, the only thing that you can't do what the license between
level mute stuff.
I'm not muted. I thought I was.
If you heard all that.
Oh my God. Okay. Put
it up. The whole world heard it.
they
no, but dead. To say is that the actual license between the NFL and EA is that multi-plat. But as long as it's to one console, Sony could have their NFL game, Microsoft could have their NFL game, and Nintendo could have their NFL game. Same with basketball. So it's just, Nintendo, the want to has to be there. And like you just said, they should go to 2K and say, look, we can take this game, clean it up with NFL rosters on it, and people are going to buy it like hotcakes, because now more than ever people are looking for a Madden alternative, because Madden is depreciating in quality year after year. We're starting to get angry, and this is when you're supposed to capitalize on that and say, well, hey, we got this over here.
Exactly. And you know what, it would remind me a lot of it really wasn't based on anger, but it was basically them having their hand forced when Sega went to EA Dreamcast, and EA being EA didn't want to invest and put Madden because of they thought that there was too many consoles from Sega, which to a degree I can understand that, but it basically forced Sega's hand to actually create Sega Sports, which is why we even have 2K today. Who should look into that, because initially I thought that Nintendo probably wouldn't want to do that because of like retaliation of EA not wanting to put on other games to their consoles if they're gonna bring out a football game with Madden. But I'm looking at the situation and I'm like, well, EA is not doing anything with Nintendo, so there is no reason not to at least look into it and see if you can get a football game that, even if it wasn't with NFL rosters, the quality of the game, it can be updated, and you can make it into something. Even if this year, for example, if they were to do it, that didn't have the NFL, teams, maybe some way down in the future it could, based on what you were just telling me. I would really like to see them do that, because they're bringing out a lot of older games that are of quality, though. I thought that when I seen Grid, I'm going to buy Grid when it comes out, by the way. And I was literally this summer thinking about that. I was like, wow, they don't really have any simulation racing games.
Yeah, that was
of arcadey, and even those are far and in between. So for me to be able to get Grid, I do have one of the creators of Grid, the name of the development team, but there was another game that I had for PC, which was a racing game, and I thought it was pretty dope. And Grid series came on, and I never played those, but it looks great. I'm gonna get it.
Yeah. Nintendo needs to do a lot more in that area, but I see a lot of that stuff showing up in the eShop, but they're not securing a lot of it. Through, I guess, the big third party. And most of that is EA because they got 2K, but everything else, I think EA is kind of running the shop on that. But anyway, but yeah, I wanted to say what those things were that you're linked to. They're called legions, and I want to find out I'm trying to find out what they come from another thing. Anyway, as I looked this up, my phone was dead. That's why I couldn't look it up earlier. But it's a great game. I think it got a cyberpunk, like the aesthetics of the world has like a cel shaded cyberpunk feel to it. It's really dope, man. It's a really dope game. A very interesting game. But not to stay on that. I see Active Gamer Life put up the Wii Fit. Have y'all seen that new trailer for this new device? I don't even want. I thought that when I was like, man, this ain't nothing but another Wii Fit type, Switch's Wii Fit device.
I haven't seen that.
And it's
one of the things that I've heard is like a new controller game.
Huh?
One of the things that I've heard this week was a new controller scheme.
Yeah, I think that's what they talking about. It's like this band, and they haven't revealed it yet fully. But if they have, I haven't seen it. But I've seen this trailer for it, I guess, kind of teasing it. And it's like a band that you can stretch and do all these different workouts. And they was doing, like, this is nothing but the Switch's Wii Fit. But I don't know enough about it yet. I don't know. I hope Nintendo, I don't know. Anyway.
Just that's Nintendo, one step forward, two steps back. You have a masterpiece like Astral Chain, and then you come out with this mess.
My thing is, man, if you gonna do any of that type of stuff, do Wii Sports. I don't think nobody wants to do Wii Fit again. I think people wouldn't mind maybe having Wii Sports, but that's just me. But anyway, so let's move on. So no one here has played Gears 5. I hear, right? So
I've been so busy, I completely forgot about it. I don't even have an Xbox One anymore, so I'm gonna have to pick one up.
Now you can get it on the PC too.
Oh, I can?
Yeah, you can get it on PC.
Well, is it?
Yeah, it's released to the PC.
Is it crossplay though with people on the Xbox?
I think so. I heard it's good. I haven't played it.
I have to look into that.
Yeah, it's on PC. Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you, and this kind of goes into one of the topics up here. It's too many games to keep up with what's coming out, man. I totally forgot about Gears 5. I absolutely forgot that the game was even coming out, and didn't have no idea that it was coming out as soon as it was. When I saw that it was out like last Friday, I was like, "What?" Like, bro, I ain't got the money. I just bought Astral Chain. I ain't going out there and getting this one. I don't have enough time to play. I don't have enough money to play. Plus, we got other titles that I want to get. And I'm like, man, I'm probably have to skip Gears 5 for a second because I want to get Luigi's Mansion. I want to get. I'm contemplating, am I going to get the Zelda game or wait? I'm not for sure because it's just so much coming out. So, but anyway, let's get into this Nintendo Direct. So, who all here saw it?
I've seen it.
I watched it.
Okay, so much of the Direct was pretty much spoiled. So, how did you? Was there any standout announcement in the Direct that y'all want to talk about, or because I feel like the Direct was spoiled way before we saw the Direct. So it was 40 minutes of I didn't see anything that really we didn't already kind of know about. So, anything in the Direct stood out to you that y'all want to talk about?
Not really. I thought it was a pretty good direct, but you know, the crap blew my mind away.
Which one?
I was saying that there's nothing in the direct that I would particularly want to emphasize on.
Okay. So
Same here. I thought that I didn't watch the beginning, so I missed the announcement of Overwatch, or that was coming.
yeah. And I think that was their big. I think that was supposed to be their big announcement, and that was literally spoiled at least 3-4 days before. Like it was literally confirmed via a leak of some of the, I think, packaging, and they had like stuff with Overwatch logos on it and everything already set up to be sold. So it kind of hurt. It kind of hurt. Yeah, the Xenoblade. What y'all think about the Xenoblade Chronicle full HD remake? Was that pretty cool to y'all?
Looked the same to me, at least
No.
I've seen from the direct. I've never played that game.
Yeah. Me either. I never played.
From
that
what
game
I've seen, it looked the exact same. I wasn't sure if it was just the video stream. I didn't take the time to do a comparison between the Wii, the original, video clips, and what we've seen from the direct. But I think because it has a larger install base, it'll have the potential to sell this time. I heard it was a good game, but it was kind of stuck in purgatory being on the Wii.
Yeah, I would say when I first saw it, I was like, man, this doesn't look. It didn't look bad, but I was with you until I went and I watched the side by side comparison. And I was like, wait a minute, this game has been drastically overhauled. It looks way. Man, the Wii version looked like trash compared to that remake, man. I mean, all the colors were washed out and the character models it's almost like looking at how Twilight Princess looked on the Wii as compared to Twilight Princess being remade for the Wii U. I don't know if you ever saw those side by side, because I thought the same thing. I was like, man, this don't look better than the Twilight. This don't look no better than the Wii version, until I saw them side by side and went back. I tried to go back and play Twilight Princess on my Wii, because I'm like, what's the point of me buying the Wii U version when I got it on my Wii? Until I put it in, my eyes started crying and watering up, and I was like, man, this don't look good. So no, it looks way better than the Wii version. But I mean, that don't mean it is the greatest looking game though. It still looks old. But I think that Overwatch was supposed to be their big announcement. It was another game that they announced that I feel like nobody was kind of talking about. I kind of put it in the Google Hangout. It was what was the name of that game? Hold up, I got it up here. I put it up here so that I wouldn't forget. Here it is, right here. What is this game? Rogue Company. Did anybody see that trailer in the Nintendo Direct? Rogue Company.
What was that shoot 'em up game?
Yeah, it kind of puts you in the mind of like Overwatch, but it's coming to all the platforms. It's coming to the Xbox, the PlayStation, the PC, and the Switch. And this game looked pretty cool to me. I mean,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that game.
I didn't hear a lot of people
pretty
talking about this, but I was like, man, that's kind of cool. That was a cool one. That's kind of stood out to me. But overall, this Direct, I mean, I ain't mad at it. I don't think Nintendo should have to blow us away every time they have a Direct.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I think it did what it needed to do. I felt like we got some announcements. We got to see some games that we kind of find out what's going on with them. I'm sitting up here. This trailer made me want Luigi's Mansion even the more. That game looks good to me. I know it's supposed to. I guess it's kiddie. but I'm gonna be a kid that day. So I'm looking forward to that game. No, I'm real talk, man. I really like how Luigi's Mansion is looking. I really like how I don't know. They just picked a good way to present it. I know it's not really for real, like open like a Mario game or anything like that. I kind of like that isolated rooms and you moving in a 3D space, but it's still real linear. But I feel like it works. It works for what Luigi Mansion is doing, and it fits. But visually, man, it just looks good to me. It ain't the best look. It don't look like a PlayStation or Xbox game, but visually, I really like how that game looks, and I'm looking forward to it, man. Real talk. I'm going to get the Zelda game. The thought is, am I going to get it day one? Most likely, I will. But there's a strong possibility I might wait. I'm not for sure. I need to see more. Not that I need to see more to see if I want to buy the game, but do I want to buy it day one? That I need to see more, or just wait for Luigi's, man. Because I got too many games right now, man. To be honest with you, I got way too many games that I ain't beat, and I don't need to add no more games to what I haven't finished already. I'm backed up with games, and right now that Astral Chain, I think I'm just gonna focus on that for a while.
Sometimes you got to do that though, man. It's like, especially during this time of year, there's so many quality games that are made and released during this time that you end up buying games and you're not able to really enjoy the game itself, you know,
Right.
to really get the $60 out of it or whatever the amount of money you paid for it. You know, sometimes, man, it's best to, like with Astral Chain, you know, get that enjoyment in. And then once you complete it and, you know, you're really thoroughly done with it, the games that you're looking at will probably be on a discount. You know, so
Not Nintendo
that's
games. I
how you do it, man.
wish. But you're
Well,
right. On
yeah,
other
that-
systems,
that's
you're
true.
right. Because I got Witcher 3.
Generally speaking, though.
Right. I got Witcher 3 for 19. I got K-Bum, blessed the brother, with Horizon Zero Dawn. Got that for $9. And I'm going to tell you right now, I feel like them games just as good as the day they came out. But, you know, Nintendo think, bro, you got to play full price. 20 years from now, you still playing full price.
You're still paying for NES games. I have them all on my phone for free.
Free 99, you say? So
Free 99. If I wanted to, I could have SNES games on my phone. If I wanted to, I could have N64 games on my tablet.
Right. Yeah, they I don't know. I'm trying to figure out not to go into any bashing of the Switch or Nintendo, not the Switch, but Nintendo. They need the two things they need to figure out. They need to figure out what's going on with their Wi-Fi, for one. Like, Nintendo's Switch signal is trash. It's just a trash signal. My signal stays on, like, barely registering, and it ain't nowhere from my my router, my Wi-Fi router box. Like, my phone and everybody else's phone, all bars are filled up, but on the Switch, it's low. So they need to figure that out, and they do need to figure out what they're doing with this online. And they just announced that they will not be following the every month releasing so many titles every month. That now they're just going to be releasing at random, and I think they're doing that because they probably can't keep up with it doing it every month. Like, people thinking this is going to be great. I'm like, nah, I think this is going to be worse.
130 megabytes. Entire collection of NES titles that you can have for free.
Yes, I think they should.
And you are sitting here and I can't even find the words. I mean, it's 130 megabytes, and they're saying that you can't get the whole collection.
I mean, I would say this. I don't have a problem with them not giving us the whole collection at once, but I made a video on this. I do have a problem with them releasing the same game 3 times.
Yeah,
Like, they
the
had
SP
3, 4
version,
different
bruh.
Zeldas of the
I seen
same
that,
Zelda.
man.
Like, come on,
All the
Nintendo.
same Gradius, the same Metroids. It
Yeah,
was the same game, just a special version.
right. It's like, bro,
Essentially didn't matter, especially when you wasn't interested in that game the first time they
that's
released it.
right. And dude, when you go through, and this really is, look, I don't want to go down this route, but I'm gonna go for a second.
We got
This
to
is
go down
really,
this route because
this is
they
really,
deserve to hear this.
yeah, this is really testament of how poor of a job Nintendo has done with this online service since launch. We have had access to the Nintendo library, the NES library, for a year. And if you go look at what they released within a year, it's not much good there, and half of it is duplicates. You have, I did a video literally showing how most of the games you got, every time they release a new set of games, they put a duplicate in there. And sometimes you got 2 duplicates. You got 2 Metroids back to back. Like the month later, they gave you another Metroid, a special Metroid that you just got a special Metroid of, that you got another Metroid of. And it's like, and so this is all y'all can offer us within a year's timing. And then with the Super NES, you say we're not going to follow a month-to-month release. We're going to release at random. So that tells me you're going to release even slower. That's what you're telling me. So, but I will say the NES titles are good. There are some really good NES titles in that in there. But I don't have a problem with not dumping all of. But I'm with you, D2K. They should have way more.
Yeah, I know they got some great titles. I got quite a few of them on my phone here. Oh, wait a minute. I have all of them on my phone for
How
free.
many gigs did that take up? How many gigs on just for the
30 megabytes. Mega, not giga, megabytes.
Dang, man.
And I'm like, and I think like the whole collection of SNES, I have all the SNES games too. That's like about 16 gigs, but a lot of those are these games that are like import games that I never even touch. Okay. And stuff. But so it's probably if you deal with the actual NTSC, whatever they call that, American Nintendo games, is probably a smaller block. So you still have enough room where you switch to get all the SNES games on there. And I don't see why they just, instead of doing it like releasing games here or there, just do it like Game Pass. Just put all the games up there of what you want to play. Okay. Just put them all up there and say, okay, I don't want Gradius. I want Mario 3. I want Turtles. I want Little Nemo the Dream Master. I want Punch Out. I want Tecmo Wrestling. Just do, like that, or the companies that, because I know that there's certain licenses that expire and you can't put certain games up there anymore for whatever reason. But again, Nintendo has some money. They can fix that. But just, just to set it up like that, where people can put all the games up there, and then people can download the games that they want, and they can have that as long as they have a Nintendo Online account. They have access to those games.
No, my problem with this whole situation is this: paying for online service, and that online service is predicated on getting certain of games on a monthly basis, and then you tell your consumer base that F it, we're not going to do that anymore. Have to pay the same amount of money every year.
Now that we got you here.
I didn't even think about that.
It's like, this is what I mean. It's not that
Sucker!
They didn't. Not that they just stopped. It's just, well, did you stop our pay? Like, did you make the online service free again like it was in the beginning?
Yeah, Nintendo really needs
to. It's Nintendo, bro.
Yeah, they need to really consider if they're offering something worthy even of the $20 that they're asking. Like, they really need to consider, like, what are we doing? Because they actually are, to me
because they're not going to take the money part away. They're not going to kill that revenue stream. So they're just going to have to improve. They're going to have to improve what it is they're offering. And there's easy ways to do that. They just have to get over themselves and do what they should do.
Yeah, but they're going to have to bring something of value, though. And it can't be Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. And it can't just be playing games multiplayer because, one, we had that for free when the Switch came out. So what we're paying for, we've already had for free. They're not providing anything of value at this point.
Yeah.
A lot of us paid the service because a lot of us, we do want to continue to play online. But to be honest, the only multiplayer game that I play online doesn't even need the online service, which is Fortnite. There's no other game that I play online. I mean, I'm one of a few, a person who's playing Mario Kart, they're required to use this. The problem with that is, before the online subscription was required, and it was clear that you can play online for free. So they're not bringing anything of value. Nintendo, they thought about this subscription service, and they didn't think it through in respects to what they're going to provide for people's money.
Now, let me ask this. What happened to DNA?
Well, I guess this is which is about 2 cents.
I mean, because have y'all heard anything about DNA? Like, I know I haven't heard anything.
Either they're still working on something else. I mean, they could be working on some type of a further down the line. Whenever this cloud gaming thing really does kick into high gear and it becomes standard, maybe that's what they're preparing for.
Okay.
They're not.
Curious. I haven't heard.
It's not necessary right now. Right quick. But for me, I think that what will make it worth is if you just give them something that you haven't offered before, which is access to the 4 and GameCube library. That will make it worthwhile right away. People are like, oh, I'm getting that.
And that's really my problem. You're not given, like, every console generation, we start with the NES and Super NES. It's like, dude, we've had these games 10, 15 different versions of the same games. You need to progress to the games of the later generations, the GameCubes, start putting the Wii's out there. It's like you can go on 4 and you can get from this generation for free. You got to make it a big deal just to get Super Nintendo games.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if
it's
they
ridiculous,
really want to impress folks, they need to jump back to the GameCube era. Like, give some of them F-Zeros from that time. Maybe Sunshine, maybe that Mario.
Definitely F-Zero.
Huh? Yeah, like those games to me would speak louder than.
We've been asking for F-Zero for like a decade.
Yeah.
Like, you're telling me you can't give us an F-Zero game outside of the original one?
Right.
If you're not going to give us a new one, just at least let the original or the one give us a HD version of F-Zero, for the Switch. I mean, people will be satisfied with that. So okay, we'll take it.
Because everything has to be Zelda and Mario. That's what it has to be. It has to be Zelda and Mario. It's like they don't even listen to their fan base. You literally have an IP. I'm not saying it would sell like hotcakes, and I'm not saying that it should be a $60 IP. It's just the type of game today, it probably wouldn't warrant that type of money, but it would still be of value if priced right, or if you just simply did a remaster and repackaged it as a download. There's so many things that they can do. Hey, let's give them Super Mario All-Stars and Super Mario World, though I'm a sucker for Super Mario World, but still,
Right.
You can't keep doing that, man.
So let me add this in there. Going back to Astral Chain.
Before you get into Astral Chain,
that's what they call.
No, before you go to that, Alex Prim, I'm gonna call him that because of what he just said. He said, "LOL, F-Zero. That trash isn't worth paying for online."
Okay.
What?
Oh, are you talking about
What,
Are
man?
you talking about the Super NES one, or which one are you talking about? I mean, I
I
don't
don't
think none of
know.
these titles are worth paying for online for. I agree with that.
I mean, F-Zero for the GameCube? Really?
I think that I said that if
The
there,
rich, the SNES, the album version, yeah, because I never got
Yeah.
into that. It was just weird. But for the GameCube, man, come on, dude,
yeah,
really?
I got the GameCube version over there. The GameCube version is good. I'm saying I think the GameCube library would be a better attraction to me for paying the $20 online, but like not NES, not Super NES, maybe 64. I think there's some titles from the 64, but Nintendo never does them titles. Like Donkey Kong, like the 3D Donkey Kong, or Diddy Kong. Is it Diddy Kong
Dixie.
Racing? Dixie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like those. Like Nintendo really. Anyway, I don't want to go down this path. We can beat.
So
Nintendo.
you know what Nintendo's doing now that you just said that? They- I got it now. They are doing remasters of these games, but what they're doing is bringing them to their online service. Yo, Turok just came out as a remaster, but you got to pay for the game.
Mm-hmm.
This game came out in the 90s, man. This game is 2 decades old.
That's
You
an
shouldn't pay for a
N64
game
title.
that's 2 decades old. What I'm saying is you've now, because of the other competitors have forced a subscription-based online service to us, forming because all you're doing is giving us games and from the early 90s that we've had on every other console many times that we haven't had.
That is massive.
You are actually remastering, and then you want to sell them separate service when it should be those games that you should be giving us for the online service that we have to purchase.
So you saying so instead of selling Turok remastered or kind of rescaled and well remastered.
Yeah.
That should be the titles that go into what is
It should be
offered
the
to them.
games exactly.
I
That
you.
would be a value.
So instead of giving us all, and we should get the Super NES and all that stuff anyway. But like to me, a game I've been wanting to play for a while. Let me get up to the mic because I don't want to sound like I'm in the background. A game I've been wanting to go back to for a while is a Wave Race. Is a Blue Storm for the GameCube.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Blue Storm. That's
Okay.
Yep.
I would love to see that game remastered, like Turok, and then give it to me as a thank you for being a part of our online service. That to me, I feel appreciated from that because I want to play Wave Races, but I don't want to play.
By the way,
Huh?
I like to see both of them remastered.
Yeah,
by the way.
I just finna say that. I don't want to play it. I don't see I played Wave Race for the 64 on my Wii U, and it's still a good game, but I just could not look at that anymore. I could not look at those squares and triangles
and circles.
and rectangles and ovals. I was like, bro, this looks bad. I didn't know this looked that bad. But the game and the physics is there.
And that's I will never. It just amazes me on how great the physics were for that game. Where have a rumble thing in there, didn't I? But it felt that way. Physics of the game and the water and the collision and everything made you feel like the controller had a rumble when it didn't.
Right. It felt heavy. You felt like the sound effects gave you the feeling of impact, like how it hit, that thud sound it would give you, and the music in that game was great too.
Yes,
but dude, I was trying to play it on the Wii U. I was like, bro, this looks bad. Like I didn't realize we have came this far. Like we literally was looking at triangles and squares and ovals all pieced together with some pink paint on it and some blue paint. Like this don't look good. So
she been working
with
the PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jedi. Oh, I don't even like going to the original PlayStation. I don't like looking at nothing on the original. You ever seen Tekken on the original PlayStation? You ever seen how ugly that game is? Tomb Raider. Let's go look at Tomb Raider for 2 minutes and see how bad your head started hurting after that.
Or a Battle Arena Toshinden.
Oh.
When I first saw that game, when it first came out, I was like, man, we are here. We have arrived. Man, that was the first PlayStation game I ever saw. And I was like, man, I'm getting the PlayStation when it comes out day one.
Been playing that game. Table, say this to Alex Prime. We tabling the Gears talk because none of us here have played it yet. I forgot the game was coming out. I think Keith might have played it, so when he get on, we're going to talk about it that time. I haven't played it yet. I want to play it, but it's just too many games, man. But I want to get into this last topic before we get out of here. And the question is, and we can kind of touch on it and pick it up another time. Who ready for next gen? Is anyone here really, honestly ready for a new PlayStation, a new Xbox? I don't feel like I'm looking for that yet.
I'm ready for next gen.
You ready? Go ahead then. I'm gonna let you talk.
For what I think I'll give Nintendo. Now I'm gonna compliment them. I think what they did with the Switch is genius. I think that for all of this power that PlayStation and Microsoft is going to implement into their next gen consoles, I think that our Nintendo can just get a 1080p version of those games and keep it handheld for that. Okay. You know, in a Dragon Quest handheld, that's 720p, and I thought it looked great on the screen. You know, so once these new games come out, it's their version. It'll be, you know, the resolution will be 4 times less. It should be like 1080p, but it'll be handheld. You know, you'll still be able to play those same quality games. I think I'm excited for that. You know, I can't wait to see what
to a new Switch.
Yeah, that's in terms of next gen. Everything when it comes to next gen, I'm talking Nintendo. You know, okay. I do periodically get other consoles. I have a PS4 here. I got Fortnite on that too. I never played Fortnite on there. The only thing that I've played is Madden 19, and I'm not even getting Madden 20 just because of the shenanigans that I've seen. And that's all I use the other consoles for, is for Madden. I had to just spending my money on it because every time I do it, I'm pissed.
Okay.
You know, so next gen for me is it's always Nintendo.
Okay. So I would say I'm not, but I understand what you're saying, and I'm with that, and it goes into something that Active just said in the chat. He said Witcher 3 for the Switch shows Nintendo needs a little bit more power. So with you, I get what you're saying, Jedi. You're right. Nintendo with the Switch can use a bump, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Active. I feel like what you just said with Gears 5 show that we might not really need a new system, and I'm wondering, are we? This is my thing. I don't want to buy a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox whatever and still be saying because we still haven't gotten 1080p 60 frames per second consistently on the base model PlayStations and Xboxes. We still ain't seeing 4K, which was touted with the Xbox X. We still ain't seeing 4K 60 frames or even 4K solid 30s yet. In some of these games, we're not seeing 4K native at all, you know. So I'm like, but I'm not feeling like I'm missing anything either. I don't know if I'm letting the commotion and the talk.
Sorry, I'm watching the game.
Oh, okay. I don't know if we get caught up in all the salesman talk of the developers and the companies that's making these particular devices, or are we actually looking at what's on the screen and saying, "Dang, I want more than this"? I don't know. I haven't. After I watched God of War 4, I was like, you can give me a couple more of those. I don't need another system. I mean, I'm not gonna turn down another system. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying, do we really feel like when I felt like PlayStation 3 got long in the tooth? I felt like the Xbox 360 has overstayed its welcome. I was like, dude, this got to go. They need to give us another system. The Wii, I was like, Nintendo, you need to get this trash. You need to get. I said trash. You need to get this system up out of here with the Wii. I was like, we need something else. With the 360, I was like, we need something else. With the PlayStation 3, it got to a point, it was like, bro, I'm starting to see the datiness of the system. I don't feel like I see that with the current systems yet. I don't feel like
there's still life in these consoles. We don't need gen system. We don't need it.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying. Do we need it? Like, I know we probably some want it, but I don't feel like we need it yet. I'm with you. Go ahead.
The way the next gens work is unfortunate, actually, because it's usually based around graphics and power, but it's not based on the technical advancements side of just graphics for games, like NPC counts or physics and this and that. So essentially, for example, you can have sports games that will look prettier, basically the legacy code, just with a prettier, appearance. And doing that, then it just shows that there is no reason for next gen consoles, because you're not really taking advantage of what it's providing. Right. I mean, you will get, first party games that may want to push a system and see and show what it's capable of. I would say Microsoft as many as PlayStation, but it's not a need right now.
Yeah. Let me ask
because
this.
People are gonna buy it.
Because I see Alex, he says we need new consoles. Control, I guess the new game Control got the base PlayStation 4 and Xbox One running at 10 frames per second. But my question is, and I feel like we fall for tactics of the companies. At the beginning of the system's life, and somebody said it here, and I've seen this really appearing with these systems, some of those earlier games look just as good as many of the games and ran just like, what's that, Second Son. Have any of y'all went back and actually played Second Son for the PlayStation 4?
Base model?
Yeah, the base model, just Second Son, infamous Second Son.
I've seen it.
Yeah, you couldn't tell me that game. Some of the stuff they was doing early on is what you said, Jedi. They try to prove the system at the beginning. And to me, they cut no corners. And then I feel like towards the end of a system life, they start to do things to make you feel like you need another system. Like poorly optimize a game for whatever reason, or not put as much energy because they working on new systems. See what I'm saying? To where it ain't that this system can't run the game good. It's just we have moved on from that system and we putting all our resources over here, so we don't have enough money to make the game run as good as we possibly could have when this was our primary focus system. Now that we focus on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Scarlet, we got a third-rate team or B team working on that game.
But also to answer that question too, battles are running at 10 frames a second. That doesn't mean that you need a next-gen console. That just means that you need a PlayStation 4 Pro X. It doesn't mean that you need a next-gen console. Base models ran its course. And instead of buying a new $400 or $500 system, like in terms of next gen, you can get the current generation systems that are out now that still have life in them. You know, look, the Xbox One X has six, what is it? Six teraflops graphically.
Yeah, I'm laughing at what they said
You
in
know,
the
I mean,
comment section.
there's people who don't even have PCs that are that powerful. You know,
Right,
have a medium, basically a respectable graphics card. You know, for that.
right.
And
I,
that's not even optimized. Like we're talking about optimized consoles right now. You know, if you have PlayStations, oh wow, that's an incredible pick, bro. I'm sorry, I'm watching football too. Um,
no, I can't. I gotta get a new bowl from my TV down here, so I gotta fix it. So I can't even.
yeah, I'm watching it on Game Pass, so I got it running on the computer. But
Okay.
anyway, if you know, if the base models are running terribly, and then they have updated versions of those that are running at 30 frames or 60 frames per second, how does that equate to us needing a new consoles? I just think that we get caught up in the company speak because they make it part of our see when we hear it often, or when it's a level of anticipation, then suddenly it's as if we need it. We don't need it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One. Those are some powerful ass consoles.
Right. And that's kind of where I'm hitting. Like I'm reading the comments, they got me laughing so hard. So I don't know if you can see this. I know D2K can see it, but I don't know if you can see it, Jedi.
I'm gonna go back to the
I'm gonna read it to you so you can.
yeah.
So, active gaming like Red Knight said, mid-gen system extended the gen, but I think we need a lot more power to impress / wow us old blankety blank gamers, right? And then Alex, I guess he thought I was saying developers are purposely sabotaging their games in order to get us to move to their, I guess, next system. He said, you think Dells make their games run poorly on purpose and tank their sales and review scores to do so? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I believe once focus starts going to the next systems, they stop caring so much about, like, let's look at the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One right now. PlayStation 4 has too much and nothing coming to it right now. There ain't nothing coming to the PlayStation 4. It's literally just in standby mode until the PlayStation 5 shows up. And then we're going to be blown away by what Jedi Knight just said, them trying to prove the power of the system. Then we go through, and then I think right now the PlayStation 4, like a game like Control and other games, probably just ain't priority for it right now. That's what I was saying. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be absolutely wrong. I just think they ain't. It's at the end of the system life. That's what I think. It's just the end of the system life. We just trying to get some money. It's a desert on both of them platforms. Outside of Gears 5, what was the last thing anybody talked about for any one of them systems? So to me, it's a desert. And games like Control and other these games are just trying to catch a few bucks from the drought and the desert that is the PlayStation and Xbox right now, because we know they're transitioning to a new system, and these companies know that, so they can throw out something that looks good visually. It looks good, but might not run good, might not be optimized good, and I believe they know behind the scenes that their game ain't optimized to run good. That's what I'm saying. But is that intentional or not? I don't know. I wouldn't know how to classify it. I'm just saying I don't think they putting as much focus on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. They setting up for next gen, and I feel like we seeing it in the offerings that are coming out for both of those platforms. So
I'd like to add to that too.
Go ahead.
I think the question that Alex is asking is a legit question, but I do think that Alex kind of forgets history. I don't think that companies are like purposely in board meetings like, yo, we're gonna put out this crappy version on purpose in order to tank our sales. But look at what happened with the last Batman game, where I think the consoles ran well, but they had like this third-party dev team that worked on that game for like a half hour, and they had a crappy PC version to the game to the point where Steam took it off Steam. They had to really reboot the game.
I remember that.
This is a triple A company from a company that is well respected that put out a crappy PC version of a game, a multi-platinum game. And the majority of sales are going to happen within the first week of a game's life. So a lot of people are not going to find out about these problems until they have already bought the game, right? So you know how many people purchased that Steam game, and when they purchased it, found out how crappy it was optimized for Steam and Steam users, you know? But I doubt that Warner Brothers was like, yeah, this is what we're going to purposely do, but that's essentially what they did, right? So
and I want to bring this up because and I was going to go here, but Red Knight already went there. You notice you ain't been hearing a lot about Last of Us and some of these other titles, because he's right. They are going to be the Breath of the Wild for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Scarlet. And that's what I'm saying. They have moved on. What Control, ain't nobody, if the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One was in full stride and all of the focus was on both of them platforms, you wouldn't even hear nothing about Control. Control would get no pub, no nothing. Nobody would be talking about it. We'd be talking about something else. But because there is nothing else to talk about, a game like Control that would normally not even be on any one of our radar is on our radar because that's all that's there to talk about. And I believe that while it's not purposely, like Jedi Knight said, not purposely being like they behind the scene discussion day, we finna just put out this trash. No, but they know they putting out trash. You know what I'm saying?
and they know that the consumers are going to buy it regardless,
right.
Because the sales are going to be made within the first week. And because, look, you know what the real problem is? The real problem is online. Or you were able to do like online updates for games. You had to actually develop and complete the game before release. Now look at how games are released today. That is not even done. And then you gotta like do like a 6 gigabyte upload of a patch. Done. So to think that a company won't do this, you know what it is, when us as consumers, when we say it
sounds crazy.
To us it sounds crazy because we know that we have a moral compass that we won't do it. Company that's worried about a bottom line. And look at EA. How many decades must we talk about Madden? We was just talking about Madden.
Mm-hmm. I was going to use Anthem. But and the last Mass Effect, but Andromeda.
We don't even have to use Madden. Madden, I just talked about what they did with Batman. Companies will do whatever they deem necessary for the bottom dollar, because at the end of the day, it's not about the black suits don't care about the quality of the game. They care about what that game is going to generate.
And they already know, based on pre-sales and based on the responses from the audience, they know, are we gonna make this much anyway? Because they just gonna buy it based on how it look. None of us have played it, but it looks good.
Mm-hmm. And that's what next gen is all about. They're gonna give us a pretty ass game, or I'm sorry for cursing, a prettier game. The same thing. It's the same thing. It's no true leap. There's plenty of games where you can play like a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One game, and you can say, well, this is not like it not be ran on a 360 or a PS3. usually you get those games late into the life where you can just tell that this game is so technically advanced that this could not run on a previous generation game. And you know how I can prove that? It's easy to prove it. How many people, most of the games that the Switch are getting today, such as The Witcher, could not run on a Switch at all. And look at all of these games that we get now. People laughed when they was talking about Overwatch. People laughed years ago when we was talking about The Witcher. People laughed when we talked about Doom because of the power. Yet it runs.
And that's something D2K preached. He's like, they can make. I'll never forget what he said. He said they can make whatever they want to run if the money is there.
I remember that. It was an older podcast. He said that, and surprisingly, I think he was talking to me about it, and he's absolutely right.
Yeah, that's the first person I was really like. He really nailed it in for me. Like, level, they can make it run if they want to. They can make it run on. He said something about a phone or something he used. He said they can make it run on the NES.
They said that they can. They said that they can. There are people that have already programmed Super Mario Brothers to run on scientific calculators.
Yeah, it was something you said. I just like I never thought of that. So
they can definitely make anything run. There's a difference between. I think people get when you say make something run in their minds, they think make it run
equivalent
possible performance level. Run on any console. The question is what it's going to look like on that console, and that is determined by the talent of the developers. It's not so much the power of the console, it is the talent of the developers, because if you have a talented development staff, figure out some ways, some tricks to be able to get the game to run efficiently, get the game optimized. If you look at some of the most sci-fi movies of all time, like the original Star Wars movie or stuff like that, you would be amazed by how props and special effects tricks they use, like stuff they bought at the grocery store and stuff and things like that. But when you watch it on TV, it's like, wow, what great special effects. If you really see what goes on behind the scene, even today in certain movie studios, they still do that to save money, because at the end of the day, what matters is the final product, more or less about the talent of the people who are actually making the games than it is about the power of the console. I will say this, however. For me personally, I don't really know what the next generation is, and I'm ready or not ready for it. And we have people saying that the next gen is just going to be these super performance Skynet level computers. On the other hand, you have people saying that the next generation is cloud-based gaming and streaming. I have an answer to that. At one point, we heard Microsoft saying, we saw on stage and say that we are working on at least 2 Xbox consoles. Now he's saying that they're only working on 1 console. Just heard them talking about at E3 this year on how xCloud is going to be the future of gaming. And the media plans for xCloud. What are they doing? Yeah. You see what I'm saying? You don't even know what they're doing, and then how Google Stadia is going to work out. And at the beginning we heard that Sony was only going to be working on just their PlayStation, but now we're hearing rumblings that they may be working on multiple consoles. So I don't know what they're doing. And then it was the whole deal between Microsoft and Sony a couple of months ago, where they said that Sony is going to be using Microsoft's cloud gaming platform. But they just turned around and said they're not doing anything with it.
I'm laughing at Active Gamer like, man, that dude's clown in the comment section, man. Next gen is the circle Nintendo is showing on Thursday.
It might be, but so I mean, I can't even say that. What only thing I would say about the current generation is this: is that despite and the Xbox One X having far superior GPUs than the base models, they're using Polaris-based GPUs, severely bottlenecked by the CPUs in the PlayStation. Those CPUs were designed for mobile devices. You have to really it takes a lot of work to make games run smoothly on any of those consoles because of that severe bottleneck. It only gets worse when you increase the GPU power. Consoles will be using brand new CPUs designed for consoles. Give developers a whole lot more leeway and a whole lot more room to make games run smoothly. And I think that's what we really should be looking for the next gen, is making sure that every single game runs 100% buttery smooth.
Yeah.
Don't care about 4K, don't care about 8K. Just give me 100%. Every game, if it's what you want, should be at least 100% buttery smooth, 1080p, 60 frames per second.
And that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm saying. I don't think, and I think you said it, and I think Jedi also said it. And we're gonna pick this topic up again because I'm curious to see what K-Bum, because K-Bum said he wasn't, but he ain't here to speak for himself. And I'm curious what Keith would say. But that's what I think. I don't feel like, even with the PlayStation 3 to the PlayStation 4, as much I enjoyed this generation. This is one generation I can say I enjoyed across the board, minus the Wii U. I enjoyed it at first, but the Switch and Nintendo with the Switch plus the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, I enjoyed this generation. I enjoyed last generation too with the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and the Wii. I enjoyed these last two gens has been decent gens to me. But I feel like we get into diminishing returns to where I'm curious if we just listening to a lot of fluff, but when we actually see it on the screen, it's not that much better. Like Jedi said, the difference ain't that big. Like, I know they talk about the ray tracing and all this stuff. It sounds dope, but when you see it in action,
it's not that big of a deal.
Right, and then, like, is this worth another $400?
Yeah. Does it look better? Yeah, it looks better, but it's like not $400 worth better.
If you gotta have Digital Foundry videos to show the difference, then you can tell that there really is no difference. That's my problem with like stuff like Digital Foundry, where you gotta go and magnify the visuals just to see like the jaggies and the pixels. I mean, I play Nintendo games, so I'm used to not having like the bleeding edge technology, but it gets to the point where it's like, yo, we are looking for the wrong things, man.
Right.
I mean, if the lack of system power is affecting the gameplay, then that's something that should be focused on, not whether or not the game looks pretty. Because we've all grew up in an era where we were playing some squares, but it didn't diminish the gameplay at all.
Not at all.
And when I was going back, what I was going to use, and we can end on this, what I was going to use was when we were talking about Xenoblade Chronicles, the remake for the Switch. And I remember you said, Jedi, it looked like the Wii version. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I was like, I thought the same thing. I needed a side-by-side comparison to notice, oh, it did improve. And I feel like that's where we at with games. Like, we to the point, like you said, we need to watch a Digital Foundry video to see the differences. Like, I see them and they slow it down and count the pixels or count the whatevers between the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S and the PlayStation 4 Pro and the PlayStation 4 and the Switch. And yeah, I can clearly see a difference with the Switch to the PlayStation 4. I can clearly see that difference. But I'm not clearly seeing the differences between the Pro and the X and the PlayStation and the One. I'm not. And it's like, I'm hoping that the next gen ain't more of that, and it's like, man, dude, I don't know. I mean, I'm curious. I guess we need to bring this topic back up. So, I believe that next gen would be a clear jump, but I'm just saying that based on feelings. I know nothing about technology. I'm with you. I don't know if it's gonna be a clear jump. I'm hoping.
I don't know either. I think that, like
I
you
hope
said,
so.
we're reaching the point of diminishing returns. We're getting to the point where things are looking as real as they can look.
Yeah, I agree with that, Alex. Yeah,
It's
but I agree with
it's more or less about how real the game can feel, the game can look. That's where we need to go, because we really have not had a lot of advances in terms of control gameplay. Motion control was more or less a gimmick. I'm talking about evolution in the base controls of what we have in our controllers to give us more
immersion.
tactile surface and more immersion based off of how we actually, when I want to do something, it's there. It's there. You know, it was more intuitive to my muscle memory versus what we have now. Not that there's anything bad with it, but that's where the next evolution in gaming needs to be.
Right. And let me say this, I like what Alex said. He said Digital Foundry is a very useful thing, useful for things like frame rates in games, especially for Switch. I agree. But this is where I want to go. He said most Switch YouTubers won't talk about if a game run poorly and just tell you to buy it. And that's true. And that's, you know, we ain't like that, because I tell you straight up not to buy something on the Switch. That's why I didn't go buy Witcher 3. When I looked at it, I didn't need nobody to tell me that. Like, it's here, but I ain't getting it. Like, I remember.
It doesn't make any sense, man. Why would you pay $60 for an inferior version of something that costs $20?
That's the real problem.
You wouldn't do that with any other consumer product. I'm not finna pay $8 for a White Castle burger and $2 for a Big Mac.
And you're right, Active. And these brothers need to be on here talking, because we just talking. But you're right. He said, except when he said, I guess he's saying like he thought he didn't think like this until he saw Witcher. I guess because he talking in the midst of the conversation. He said that's the first time I felt maybe not every game needs to be squeezed onto the Switch. That looked unacceptable to me, and I agree. When I was watching the trailer for Witcher 3 for the Switch, I didn't need K-Bum, because I knew K-Bum was finna come. I knew he was finna come. Like, bro, if you say you finna get that game, you are a hypocrite. I was like, bro, I didn't need you to tell me that. I looked at the same thing you saw, and I knew I wasn't getting it. I was like, I'm going to buy it on the PlayStation. I ain't buying it I'm not giving you $60 for melted ice cream. I'm not doing that. Because that's what Witcher 3 looked like on the Switch. It looked like melted ice cream. I feel like whoever, I'm not knocking them, but we've had, to me, Doom and all these other games, Wolfenstein, and a lot of other games, they did a way better job. I don't know if they just rushed it to get it in. I don't know if that was a rush job.
I think they rushed it. I think that they just want to. I think that they got the deal done to port the game over there, and they were so excited, and they just said, "Just get the game on there. We don't care, you know, just as long as it's playable and it's, you know, there's no game breaking features in to get it on there." I think that they actually had some time to really, but they could make a version of the Witcher that looked really nice and was really smooth. But you know, I mean, you can't. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
So this is what you're gonna get, you know, when you talk about porting these games over from more powerful consoles to the Switch. I mean, you can't complain. I mean, on one hand, you're saying, "Well, we're not getting the games, and they got the vendettas against Nintendo and blah blah blah." But then when the game finally does come, they do the best job that they can. Oh, they're not trying hard enough, and they can do this and they can do that. Well, you get in there and show them how it's done then. You know what I'm saying? If you're so smart, then you port the game over and you do all the work. Right. So, you know, just play the games. They're happy that you're getting them, because Wii U sure as heck didn't get them. I mean, there's no way a game like this would have came to the Wii U. but you're getting it on the Switch.
Right. And I commend anybody that goes out and buy it. My thing is, I meant to get Witcher 3 a while ago. I'm not going to go get it on the Switch when I can get it for cheaper and better elsewhere. I'm going to get it elsewhere. And that's just this title. Some other games, like, I'm not, Overwatch, I'll get Overwatch on the Switch.
Yeah, because Overwatch fits the Wii, that fits the Switch like a custom made glove. That game should have been a launch title, as I said before.
Right. I'm just saying, this one just was not. The Witcher 3, and I like Alex said and many others said, I commend the effort, but visually, I just don't think they did what it needed to do. But looking at Witcher 3, even on the PlayStation 4, I tell you, I got an issue with how the character models look. The game the visuals of the stages look fine, but the character models look janky to me, man. And I feel like maybe I'm on an island by myself.
That's an artist issue. That's just the people who actually made the character models were not good artists. I mean, you see that. I mean, I've said many times on the show that I do not care for the character design at all for the characters in Killer Instinct on the Xbox One. I think they look terrible.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The game has superb graphics. Designs of the characters look awful. So, I mean, that could be whoever did this character designs, the character meshes, they're artists.
So
I have to say, guys, I disagree with all of this. I've seen The Witcher 3, the hands-on on Digital Foundry. This is after they initially showed the game. When they first showed the game looked terrible. I think it was about a week or two ago, Digital Foundry did, like an in-depth look at the game. For what the game is running on, frames per second, I thought the game looked great. I think when it comes to performance, run properly, if it's unplayable, that's one thing. But at the same time, my personal opinion, based on how I view the Switch, I expect range of quality when it comes to what is essentially a mobile device that is less powerful than my phone, right? What they've done with The Witcher, what I've seen, I thought that was phenomenal because, again, conversations where they said that it couldn't even run. Like it was laughed out of conversations if you even attempted to say that The Witcher could even exist on a Switch. Right. Me to see what I saw from the Digital Foundry, I thought it looked great. Read one of the guys in the comment section when he was talking about, have Digital Foundry for performance purposes, especially for Switch. I think it should be especially for every console. I think that we kind of take that as like the gospel. Sometimes it's okay to play a 25, 30 frame, per second game, and then it doesn't really interrupt your experience. I'm an old school gamer that played on the Nintendo 64 when I was playing GoldenEye at 12 frames a second. So certain things just don't bother me. It depends on the gamer essentially. So I think that it's not. Some YouTubers are out there and they don't tell the whole story, or they kind of favor their consoles. But I also think it's the generational gamer that you have to take into account as well. A lot of people became heavy gamers within the PS2 era. 39 years old, so my whole gaming experience is different.
Right.
I remember gaming before frame rates. I mean, like, who the hell knew about frame rates in the 90s? That's a relatively new thing today. Frame rates.
Yeah.
So because it's become such a thing, it's kind of like now they've set this sort of standard where anything under 60 is like unplayable. Like people like Black Bond say stuff like this. And it's like, man, he has so much potential, but then he lets like frivolous stuff like that limit him content, for me at least.
No,
Like
man, you can go
to
ahead.
hear people talk about, oh, if it's under 60, it's unplayable. It's like, get out of here with that nonsense, man. It's
Especially people that are old enough to remember all the slowdown that we had to
exactly
endure on the NES and the Genesis and other consoles.
sounds
And
ridiculous to
and
me.
we played through all the glitches and things. We used to take those glitches and use them to our
Dude,
advantage
do you remember
and still had a great time.
playing GoldenEye 4 players with proximity mines and rockets? You was probably playing like 6, 7, 8 frames a second, and it was the best gaming experience of your life. So for
Agreed.
me to hear about the technical aspects of it, it's just I'm not moved by that, man. Is the game good or not?
I mean,
It,
I've said many a times that the greatest game in the world today is Slime Rancher. It's Slime Rancher is not even. I'm not gonna compare Slime Rancher to Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever the name of the game is. Game is not even the same stratosphere, but I will play that game all day long. I'm gonna play it after we get off here. But it's all about the gameplay, and it's solid and it's smooth and it does the job. Matters at the end of the day. You guys know I'm not a Switch person, I'm not a Nintendo person. I'm happy that people enjoy their Switches. I'll never buy one. I have no reason to buy one. But it doesn't hurt me that people enjoy games I have no interest in. Because I'm busy playing the games that I do have interest in and having fun playing those.
That's actually one of the reasons why I love this podcast, because it's not a Nintendo podcast. It's everybody has their own flavor, And at the end of the day, man, that's what it was supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about enjoying the things that you're gaming on. Now it's just become, it's just like
If you go to the wrong area on YouTube, or especially this community, yeah, because I hadn't listened to none of the, like you brought up Black Bun. I just got curious. I was like, dang, I haven't listened to Black Bun or like a person like Zaire. None of them cats in like literally years, bro. I forgot they. So I just was curious, and you're right. Like to go back into that, like, man, I forgot how this even felt to be still arguing and calling people clowns and stuff. But anyway,
2011, 2012. That's what the whole.
Yeah. I was going to say this. For me, when it comes to like Witcher 3 and the Switch, I do think it's a technical marvel to see that they were able to do that on, like you said, something as weak as the phone, your phone.
I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think that they would be able to do it.
I'm just saying, for me, knowing that I can get it on another platform and get the full experience visually and gameplay wise, like it ain't so ugly that it's unplayable. I'm joking. It does look like melted ice cream at parts.
Looks blurry. It does.
Blurry.
It looks blurry.
That's what I mean when I say that. But I'm not gonna knock anybody that gets that. But if you had an opportunity to get it elsewhere before the Switch, I have a problem if.
See, that's the thing that gets on my nerve.
Yeah.
When people act like it's the greatest thing that has ever happened and they want to tell everybody how wonderful it is and how the Switch version is the best version, where you didn't have a care in the world about this game when it wasn't available to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Somewhere and sit down and shut up.
So when I saw it, I'm like, oh, it's available. I'm like, but I think I'm going to get it on. And I saw it for 19. I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I think I'm just going to get it on the PlayStation 4.
If you already had, go ahead.
Look, I think that if the game is $20, hit the Switch, the game should be selling for no more than $30. I would say $25, just because there was some development that had to go into porting the game. So I know that you just can't easily sell it at the same price. But I mean, give me the opportunity to support Switch, even if it costs me a couple bucks more. But for $60, even though I think it's a marvel that they even got the game to run.
Right.
But it's $60, bro.
I'm curious, and I don't want to go to 3 hours. We right at 2.5. But I want to say this,
Yes.
and then we can end on
We
this real
going
quick.
in right now. This is a good podcast.
Bad latency brought up something, and I agree with. And this was a conversation that was being had because a lot of the stuff that had happened since I set this podcast up, and I'm like, I kind of just stuck with what I had listed there to talk about. I changed maybe one or two of our topics on deck, but he talking about, we kind of talked about Overwatch and the frames per second, and I don't have any issue with 30 frames per second. I don't think a game is unplayable because of 30 frames per second. But it is very interesting that Splatoon 2 and Paladins are running at 60 frames per second on the Switch. And Overwatch is at 30. Now, I watched it was Digital Foundry. Digital Foundry getting a lot of love on this podcast today. I watched Digital Foundry's video breakdown or analysis of Overwatch on the Switch. And they took kind of the little footage that they had in the Rect, and they broke it down as best they could with that footage. And they what they kind of left with saying was that it seems that Blizzard went with trying to keep the visuals as close as possible to the other versions. So visually, it looks close to the PlayStation and Xbox. They chose visuals over performance, and they said they hope that they add a performance option on it where performance takes in the 60 frames per second, and the visuals get hit a little bit, but you get the performance that most are used to. So I don't know, but it seemed like they went with a more visual. They wanted to keep the visuals on par. So and
It would be
looks
smart
good.
if they did
It
that.
looks good, man. You know,
I wouldn't understand why this. I wouldn't understand why they couldn't get this running at 60 frames per second while docked. I can understand, portable
right?
30, but docked. This game is not that graphically intensive. This is something that the Switch should be able to handle at 60 frames per second.
That's what I'm saying. I think they chose to go more so focused on the visuals that they chose to go with that more on the game to look great rather than giving you that.
I mean,
frame.
Yeah, a lot of the levels on Overwatch, there's a lot of draw distance there. A lot of stuff going on in the background, way off in the distance, and it's very detail on those things, not just blurry images. It's like you can actually see detail in buildings and in vehicles and stuff that are in the way off in the distance, and that could be taxing on the hardware of the Switch. And maybe they said in order to keep the experience for people who may have already played this game before, so it doesn't stick out like an eye, that they just wanted to keep all that together, but we could just drop it to 30 frames per second. And this game is not gonna hurt this game at all.
Right. So
I think in this particular case, though, if they are able to add the performance part, they should. Like a game like The Witcher, I don't mind the frames, but with Overwatch, it's a competitive shooter.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, if Nintendo wants the competitive shooter like consumer, give them what they request, and the performance seems like that's more their forte than it necessarily is visuals. I know. I mean, there's people who play it's not Fortnite. It was the PUBG, where they turn down the visuals of the game to the lowest settings in order to see people in the grass. It's like people do all types of weird stuff to gain an edge. So in the case of Overwatch, they need to provide the consumer competitive advantage, if you will, if it comes to frames, if they're more comfortable with that, given that it is a competitive shooter. Hopefully Blizzard does something about that. But 30 frames for me personally, though I'm a very casual gamer, it's absolutely fine with me.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that the system has the game. But a person who may want to use that to play seriously, they may reconsider it.
So I guess we're gonna have to bring this topic up for the next podcast, because I feel like this next gen talk kind of really opened up in the live chat, and it's more I want to talk about, but I feel like we need. I want to get some input from K-Bum and Norris. So, but we pushing 2.5, so I want to go ahead and end here. Anything else that needs to be said before we get out? My wife said something. What'd you say, babe? Y'all heard. That's level misses. She said you need to hurry up. She got to go to the store. So she want me to hurry up before I can go up there and get the twins. All right.
One thing I'll say is that I've rode with him from the beginning until now, but pull the hook on Eli Manning.
No, go ahead. Oh, okay. You talking about the game? Okay.
It's time to get the hook, bro. It's time to call it a career.
Eli should have been, man. No one talk about it. They should have been got rid of it. And the fact that I like Peyton. Don't get me wrong. I had to grow to like Peyton. I didn't like Peyton at first. And I understand the Manning name, but Eli has proven that he's been dead in the water for at least the last 4 seasons. No other quarterback would get that level of treatment if they was doing what he was doing with the talent that he had around him. Anyway, let's not go there. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Hello?
All right. Okay. Yeah. You kind of went out there for a second. Yeah, I'm good, man. I agree with D2K. We need to see some more Daniel Jones and the Giants. But yeah, man.
I know. Eli to me should have been benched, man. Let that man go.
Yeah, for sure. But good podcast. Maybe next week we can talk a little bit more football since it did start, man. This week 1 was kind of brutal on me. My Jets and my Browns both got spanked today. So it is what it is. Don't ask me why I'm a Jets and Browns fan. I know that sounds like complete abuse, and it is.
Well, you got hope with your Browns. I don't know about your Jets, Jedi, but your Browns might pull off something. So I wouldn't take this first game as an outlier where they going. I think they're going to correct the ship. The Jets, I don't know, man.
We'll see, man.
I don't know. Okay. D2K, did you have anything else you wanted to say, or are we done?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Well.
And thanks for everybody in the chat that participated. I really dig kind of going back and forth with the people in the chat. That was cool today.
Yeah. And man, let me apologize for the long hiatus. Look, bro, I ain't never claimed to be a computer genius. It took me a while to figure out why my computer just wasn't acting right. Now I figured it out, D2K. I needed to run it in the ministry. That's what was problem. That was my problem. I wasn't running it as an.
And I told you it was something simple.
Yeah, it was simple, bro.
Something simple.
And so we could have been up about 2 weeks ago, but your boy Levelhead just couldn't figure it out. So, but we here. Hope y'all enjoyed it. See y'all next week. Till then, deuces.